Imagine the following situation. You're investing all your time, energy, and affection into someone, trying to show how much you care. But suddenly, this person starts distancing themselves for no apparent reason. You naturally panic. You begin to think you may have done something wrong, that you haven't done enough. Your heart races, your mind races to find solutions, trying to come up with the perfect way to win this person's attention back. You send more messages, call more often, maybe even suggest going out to talk. Yet the more you try, the further they pull away. It's like trying to hold sand in your hands. You feel like you're losing control, and in the end, nothing seems to work. This can be one of the most frustrating experiences anyone can go through, especially when you're giving your all and can't understand what's happening. But here's the key. Often the solution is not to try harder but to take a step back. It seems contradictory, right? But when you step back a little, you start giving the other person space to reflect on what's happening between you. And believe me, this can change everything. Let's take a closer look at why this happens. When you're constantly present in someone's life, always trying to be around them and give your best, you unknowingly take away the chance for the person to miss you. This happens with people, situations, and even objects we see every day. Do you know when you have that favorite song and listen to it so much that it starts to lose its charm? Or when you love a certain food but after eating it too much you start to get tired of it? The same principle applies to relationships. When someone is always there, the person starts to take their presence for granted. And deep down, this diminishes the value of that person in their eyes. But if you pull back a little, create some healthy distance, the person begins to realize what they're missing. They start to miss you, to notice the value of your presence in their life. This is one of the most powerful secrets of attraction. And believe me, it's rooted in human psychology. Humans have a natural tendency to value what becomes scarce. This happens with rare objects, special experiences, and also with people. When you become less available, they will notice how valuable you are and start wondering what's happening. Why didn't she message me today? Is he interested in someone else? Have I lost her interest? These are the questions that begin to arise, and interestingly, this ends up drawing their attention to you more. Now imagine that by giving this space, you're not manipulating or playing a game. It's not about being distant or cold artificially. On the contrary, you're creating a dynamic where the other person can reflect on their own feelings without feeling pressured. This is the secret to breaking the push and pull cycle that often ruins attraction. By giving space, you're also sending a powerful, clear message. I don't depend on you to be happy. This is one of the most attractive things anyone can convey. You've probably heard the expression, people are attracted to those who are confident and know their worth. This is exactly what happens when you give this space. By not constantly chasing the person, you're showing that you have your own life, full of interests and goals. And this, no matter how simple it may seem, makes a huge difference. You become more interesting, more desirable. He starts to realize that he's not dealing with someone who needs him, but with someone who wants to be with him but also has their own life. And that difference is essential. Now imagine a scenario where you're always available for someone, texting all the time, responding immediately, always chasing after them. Suddenly, you realize you've been neglecting your own needs. Maybe you've let go of a hobby you loved, a personal project you were starting, or even just time to relax and take care of yourself. In this scenario, you may start to feel empty, as if you're living only to please the other person. Now imagine you decide to stop for a moment, take a step back and focus more on yourself. You start to pick up your activities again, focus on your interests, and that begins to fill you up again. You become more confident, more secure in yourself. And the moment you start dedicating yourself to your own passions and interests, you become even more attractive to the person you're distancing yourself from, because they begin to notice your growth, your shine, and the desire to be by your side. When you start investing in yourself, when you start valuing yourself, you also teach the other person to do the same. Because the value you give yourself is the value you convey. And consequently, this is how the other person learns to value you. If you're constantly sacrificing yourself and putting yourself second, the other person might end up thinking that you don't care enough about yourself. And that's not attractive. By giving this space, you're not only creating an environment where the other person can miss you, but you're also doing something crucial for your own well-being. You're showing that, above all, you value yourself. And by valuing yourself, you send a powerful message. I am someone of value who has their own life and is self-sufficient. This, in the end, attracts even more. At the same time, by doing this, you're not only creating space for the other person to reflect, but also for yourself to reflect. The time apart is when you can reassess what you truly want, what your priorities are, and whether you've been putting the other person's needs ahead of your own all the time. What happens when you value yourself and give yourself this space is that you start showing the person that you don't need them to be happy. This is the turning point. By showing that you have a full life with your own goals and interests, you become an even more attractive person. When you step back a little, your absence becomes something desirable, and eventually the person starts to come back to you with a new perspective, more focused and with more interest. Now imagine that after giving this space they start showing signs of wanting to return. What do? Don't rush it. The key here is balance. When they come back, and they will, it's important not to fall into the trap of being overly reactive. Don't fall back into old habits of responding to every message right away or putting yourself in a submissive position to please them. Instead, show the person that you have boundaries, that you have self-control, and that you won't compromise your own value just to keep them around. By doing this, you're showing that you have self-respect. And when you have self-respect, people start to value you even more. This is the process of building a healthy and balanced relationship, where the effort is mutual and both feel that they are growing together. When he comes back to you, it's because he chose to, not because you forced or manipulated him. He recognized your value, noticed your confidence and independence, and chose to be with you out of his own will. In the long run, this approach of giving space and valuing yourself has a profound impact. A healthy relationship is one where both have their own lives, where they respect and value each other mutually. When he sees you investing in yourself, he becomes even more attracted to the positive energy you radiate. This creates a solid foundation for a relationship that goes far beyond the constant search for validation. If you maintain your emotional independence and continue valuing yourself, you will be more than prepared to face any challenge that arises, because you don't depend on the other person to be happy. Putting yourself first and valuing yourself are not selfish acts, but deeply transformative attitudes that can change the course of our lives. Often we tend to put others ahead of ourselves, whether it's out of love, friendship, or the desire to please. This behavior may seem noble at first, but over time, it creates emotional imbalance. When we dedicate ourselves excessively to others and forget to take care of our own needs, we risk losing our identity and, worse, feeling empty inside. Valuing yourself doesn't mean being arrogant or self-centered, but recognizing your own importance, respecting your limitations, and understanding that you deserve to be treated with kindness and consideration. It's about having self-love, which is the foundation for all other forms of love. When you put yourself first, you show the world how worthy you are of respect. And furthermore, you send a clear message that you have the right to be happy and invest in your own well-being. This may seem simple, but it's one of the greatest challenges many of us face in a world where urgency and external demands pull us away from our true essence. By valuing yourself, you make yourself a priority in your own life. Believe me, there's nothing wrong with that. You don't need to sacrifice your happiness and inner peace for someone else. In fact, the only way to have a healthy and genuine relationship with others is to first reconnect with yourself. Self-care is the foundation upon which you build meaningful and lasting relationships. When you put yourself first, others will begin to notice that you have a high standard of respect and care for yourself, and this, inevitably, makes them respect and value you even more. They will value you even more. Relationships should not be built on dependence or subordination, but on trust and reciprocity. When you stop putting yourself second and start prioritizing your own needs, life begins to align more harmoniously. Your work, your relationships, your mental and emotional health. Everything starts to thrive because you've become the source of your own happiness. This is not selfishness, it's self-awareness. And that's powerful. It's when you understand that by taking care of yourself, you not only become a stronger and more centered version of yourself, but also offer the best of yourself to others. Now imagine a scenario where, after some time of self-valuation, you begin to see the results of this internal shift. People who didn't value you before now begin to approach you with a different perspective, one that is more respectful and admiring. Relationships that were once imbalanced start to transform. You begin to be seen differently, more admired, more desired, because you've become more complete and secure in who you are. The key is not in constantly pleasing others, but in being someone who loves, respects, and takes care of themselves. And this type of person is irresistibly attractive. Moreover, by putting yourself first, you also give the other person the opportunity to value your presence. What you allow others to do to you is a reflection of how you view yourself. If you respect yourself, the other will naturally be inclined to do the same. This creates a dynamic of mutual respect, where both parties in a relationship, whether romantic, friendly, or professional, recognize and value what each has to offer. Now it's your turn. What areas of your life have you been neglecting your worth? What choices have you been making that, deep down, are not aligned with your value? It's time to put yourself first. It's time to prioritize yourself, to be the person you need for yourself. Only then will you be able to experience the peace, happiness, and healthy relationships you've always wanted. If this topic has touched your heart and you want to continue the journey of self-valuation, self-care, and transformation, subscribe to our channel. Here you will find more content that will help you become the best version of yourself, strengthen your relationships, and achieve a more balanced and happy life. Don't waste any more time. Start the transformation today.